Hello and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer, the board game review show that remembers that story about two zombies. They were eating a comedian, and one turned to the other and said, "Does this taste funny?" Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at Zombicide, 2nd edition from CMON.
My zombie girl claws her way up through the soil. She wants me bad, but I know that she'll stay loyal. She wants a kiss, leans in like this, then bites off my lower lip. She's in my heart, but wants in my head. I'm in love with the living dead. She's one of the dead. She's one of the dead. She's one of the dead. I'm in love with the dead.
Zombicide, 2nd edition from CMON, is a kind of more streamlined version of the Zombicide experience. Now, I'm not going to get into a complete rules breakdown here because Sean did a great overview of Zombicide a few years ago. You can check that out on our channel. What I'm going to talk about here today is kind of some of the changes that are different from Zombicide 2nd edition from the 1st edition, and give you my thoughts. So there's a few things here in this new edition. First of all, the setup time is a little bit quicker. It's just a little easier to get everything together. It's a little more streamlined there. You also have kid survivors. Kid survivors have their own unique abilities, and they have their own unique, of course, cards and things that they can gain and traits they can gain. But they all start with a slippery trait. Like once per turn, they can use a slippery ability. You also, too, it's not called experience points anymore, it's called adrenaline. Your adrenaline gets going, and that's what allows you to kill more zombies. Now, in the original game, of course, if you went into a building, you'd spawn zombies in all of the rooms inside. You draw a card for all the rooms inside. Now, zombies only spawn in the dark spots. You'll notice the buildings all have kind of dark rooms, and it is only in the dark rooms where the zombies actually spawn. Now, unlike the original game where you would have to kind of craft Molotov cocktails and sniper rifles by finding different cards and then discarding them to gain that other card, here you actually just can find sniper rifles and find Molotov cocktails. Now, there are some new skills in this game and some updated skills, and then, of course, there are some new game modes. There's companions and kind of different little things that you can do to kind of change and spice up your game for a little more replayability. But maybe the biggest change of the game, first of all, you do have some changes in targeting priorities. But when it comes to the whole friendly fire thing, this was probably the most controversial rule in the original version of Zombicide. And what that was, of course, is if you are firing a ranged weapon into a space that has both zombies and your friends, you must hit your friends first, right? That was in the original version. You dealt damage to your friends before you hit a zombie. This was incredibly controversial. Many people house ruled around it. Now, with the 2nd edition, the rule is if you are firing a ranged weapon into a zone with zombies and a friend, if you score a hit, you hit a zombie. If you miss, then you hit your friend, and that creates friendly fire. Now, there are also, too, the game does come with different abominations. There are different kinds of abominations. In the base game, you just had the abomination. In this one, you can have different kinds that do different things. Their cards act differently, give them different skills, and give them maybe different ways to kill them. There's also the abomination mode. Instead of just allowing one abomination on the board, you can have multiple abominations on the board for a more difficult challenge. There's also some updated rules with the car. You can drive car, but it kind of says how you drive the car, how many dice you roll. You have a little car card that is a reference card that nobody owns that you can just use to see exactly what you do when you drive a car. Now, you also have the Pimp Crates. These are special weapons, special bonuses that you can get. They are placed on the board too. Once you search them, though, they are gone. They're kind of a one and done, but they do give you more powerful weapons. And you also do have the Pimp Mobile, which is kind of another car that you can get that usually will have some Pimp Crates in it. As I mentioned, the buildings have dark rooms, and that's the only place where zombies spawn. But now, too, those dark rooms can affect line of sight if you want to play with this game mode. So you can't shoot through them, you can't shoot into them, I believe. They kind of block line of sight. However, if you do have the flashlight card, that negates that, and you can. You also, as I mentioned, have companions. Companions can be kind of objectives, and you're trying to escort companions, move them out, but they can be killed. They can be hit as a result of friendly fire. So they're almost kind of NPCs that you bring to the game that can kind of be linked to your one of your playable characters. You also have the ultra red mode, and the ultra red mode is essentially once you get to the end of the track of killing zombies, you go all the way back to blue. You don't lose any of your traits, and as you move past the early traits, you've already filled them out, so you can't do anything. But once you get to the tracks that still have empty spots, you can gain those empty traits. You can put pegs in them as well to gain those traits as well to become even more powerful as the game progresses. Again, the game comes with a bunch of new scenarios. You go, you play through, you kill zombies, you search, you try to survive, but you complete those objectives and you win! Zombicide 2nd Edition. So I'll just say it right now, I think Zombicide 2nd Edition is an improvement over the 1st edition in terms of rules and in terms of some of the streamlining that's done here and some of the even component quality I think is better. The whole kids thing is I don't know. I'm not certainly not uncomfortable with it or anything, but it's I don't know. Just to me that doesn't seem overly necessary. Kids, big deal, you know. Some of the other things I like, the searching, just the zombie spawning in dark rooms as opposed to in all the buildings. That's really good because it seemed to me like I always really liked the game, but after the first few times you go into buildings, it seemed like it slowed the game down when you were trying to. I wasn't a big fan of that. But here it seemed to work very well with that system with just spawning in the dark rooms. I really enjoyed that. I also can't enough say how much I like the new rule with the friendly fire rule. It's one of those things where you can easily house rule it in the other edition, so it's not like a big deal. But it's just nice to have that there and backed up and supported and be kind of the canon of this game. That if you shoot someone, or if you shoot into a crowd of zombies and you don't hit your friend, you hit the zombie. I like that. That was a much needed addition to this game. I like the some of the weapons you can get from the Pimp Crates. They're pretty cool, and it kind of gives you kind of mini objectives because you want to get to those things to really get your character, powered up. Generally speaking, I just have a lot of fun with this game. But the big question is, if you have the 1st edition, do you need to get the 2nd edition? Actually, when I moved to Texas years ago, I actually gave Sean, who loved Zombicide, I gave him all of my 1st edition Zombicide stuff. And it was one of those things that after I did it, I mean, because at that point I had Black Plague, which to me I thought was the definitive version at the time, and I thought, I kind of regretted it though. I kind of missed that, and I like I said, I had the expansions for it, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But I know he loved it, and he likes Zombie. I think Zombicide is still his favorite board game. So I gave that to him. So I actually bought this copy of Zombicide 2nd Edition because I wanted to try it and I wanted to see kind of how it played. I found that, now I'll say this too, I've only played 2nd Edition solo. I've only played this game as a solo game. I haven't played with other people. But I got to tell you, I really enjoyed it. Like I say, it was a quicker setup. It was more streamlined. This game just felt real. The game was just really, really fun. When I say a quicker setup and takedown, the hard part about playing Zombicide is always putting the guys back in the right spaces. And there's a little kind of picture on the inside of the box that tells you exactly where they go, but it's still a pain putting all those zombies away. But having said that, it's just fun. I love Zombicide. I love these games so much. They're mindless fun, and they're not a game. I couldn't just play this game. I'd go crazy. But I do really have fun with Zombicide, quite a bit. And I think this is a great new addition. I really like the new rules. I like the new look of the game. I like some of the new artwork. It's just a lot of fun. If you do not own Zombicide and you're looking to it and you like this particular theme, like contemporary zombie apocalypse, I'm going to say 100% buy it. If you already own the original Zombicide, I don't know that you need to. I think maybe you can house rule some stuff and still have a lot of fun with that game. But that's just my 2 cents. So I'm going to say again, if you don't have a copy of Zombicide and you like this theme, buy it. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We'd ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. We'd also ask you to please give us a thumb on Board Game Geek to this video. That helps us out a lot. And I'd ask you to please check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where I talk about military history and fun things like that. You know, ladies and gentlemen, they have an expansion to Zombicide 2nd Edition about Washington, D.C. I haven't played it yet, but it's funny because I always thought that if a zombie apocalypse did happen, the most secure place in the country would be Washington, D.C. There haven't been any brains there for years.
Her teeth start to rot, but I think her body's still smoking hot. Yeah, she lost some weight. I'm not shallow, but I think it's great. She wants me.
My wife is so mad I bought these. We kinda gotta do Zombicide.